I'm Jeff. I'm Smelly's dad, the drummer of NoFX, probably the best punk drummer still around. And you're watching The Yard.
Welcome to another edition of The Yard. This episode I got the best, one of my all-time favorite guests that I'm going to have on of all time. I've had some great guests so far. We've had singers, we've had guitar players, we've had Teresa Stauffer, she's a great baker. But my favorite guests are the drummers. And so today we have one of the best drummers, one of the best local punk rock drummers there is. Back in 1978, there was a band called The Crowd, and they were from Huntington Beach. And they were the biggest thing to come out of Huntington Beach and the punk rock scene at the time. So today we got the drummer of The Crowd. My first experience with The Crowd was in 1978. It may have been their first backyard party they played. I was 10 years old. And we had heard, I grew up in a neighborhood around the corner here in Huntington. And my family had heard that there was a punk rock band playing a couple doors down. The girls who lived there came down, knocked on all the neighbors' houses. And it was kind of a scary thing for the parents. All of us kids were excited, and I'll never forget my little brother and my mom and dad. My sister was probably at the party, knowing her at the time, but we sat out in the backyard, 2 doors down, and listened to the band start up. I think they played one song before the HB cops just shut them down. It was, it was a different time. Punk rock now is kind of mainstream with bands like Green Day. You guys all know that stuff, but back then it was new. It was scary for the parents, and us kids, we ate it up, buying the Sex Pistols 45s and all the other great stuff that just scared our parents. So that's what we did. Skateboard ramps were big back then. Tony Alva lived in the neighborhood, and all these guys would have their Alva skateboards, and we had ramps down. A lot of you guys know where Bouchard Park's at, a lot of you local people. All the quarter pipes that were there. I was younger, I was on the young side, but me and my buddy Tom Spencer, you're probably watching Tom, he got into punk right away. Super Punk Tom was what they called him. We'd run around and with his ghetto blaster and listen to punk rock and skateboard and have a great time. So that's my little story of punk rock. But today we've got Dennis Walsh of The Crowd. He's the drummer. He's been in a couple other punk rock bands, legendary punk bands, pioneers basically. So I'm excited to have him. We're going to ask him a bunch of questions about what The Crowd's doing today, maybe a special project that he has in mind. And just kind of get his feel of what the vibe was like here in Southern California in the late 70s. Hope you stay tuned. He's going to be a great guest. Interesting stories, like all my people. Obviously, episode 5 wasn't so interesting, but that's what we're going to do. Hang out, grab a beer, cheers, enjoy the episode. Take 2. Welcome to another fantastic edition of The Yard. Like I said earlier, one of my guests this time is Dennis Walsh from The Crowd. I'd like everybody to introduce you to Dennis Walsh of The Crowd. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. Thank you very much for coming out and spending a couple minutes with us.
Great to be here. I've been waiting to do this for a long time.
Well, good. We're glad to have you. And like I said in the intro, the drummers were just better looking than most people. So you got extra.
I know I'm the
sexy.
best looking guy in my band. No offense, Jimmy.
Speaking of the band, how's the band doing these days?
We're good. We just did a show at the House of Blues with the Adolescents a few nights ago, and we're going to Punk Rock Bowling to play at the Bunkhouse on the Saturday night for Memorial Weekend.
Absolutely. The Crowd just released a new album called Landmark, and it's a really good album. I've got it myself, and it takes you back to the early 80s, to The Crowd's original style. They've never really changed, and they're just fantastic. I recommend you going out and looking for the new album, Landmark. What is your favorite album of The Crowd?
Letterbomb.
Letterbomb
is my favorite. It really kind of hit at a peak period of the original 4-piece band with Jay Decker playing bass. And it just has a good sound, a good feeling, good songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that would be my pick.
Yeah. Now, you're also in a band called Jack and Peg. Can you tell people what Jack and Peg is all about?
Jack and Peg is my own personal project. First time I've ever started, ran, been the man for a band ever. And it's an old school guitar-driven blues rock band that I formed with some old friends of mine. And it's really, really fun, and it's very groovy. And we've done some fantastic shows with the Galway Hooker Band.
Absolutely.
It's we go hand in hand. People like to drink to both our kinds of music.
Yes, absolutely. And who doesn't like to drink, right? Now, you've been in the punk scene for a long time.
Original, yeah.
The Flyboys. Talk about the Flyboys. How was that? 1977, one of the first original punk rock bands in the area. You were the drummer, correct?
Yes, I was. And actually, I made my first record ever in the Flyboys. And it was the original Flyboys prior to punk rock. We made a record in like 76, early 77. And Jimmy Decker was the original singer.
No kidding.
And Pete, the guitar player in Jack and Peg, was one of the two guitar players.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll have to play you that single sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
And that band had been around in Huntington Beach in particular for quite a while because Jimmy and I lived here. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of an original version of a Roxy Music, David Bowie, Bebop Deluxe kind of wannabe band, right? And then punk rock happened.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed our whole idea about things. And it was not like an overnight thing. It was kind of like a gradual progression of over the course of like 6 months, 8 months. And, we started, jettisoning members of the band and changing our look and the songs, and suddenly we were down to a three-piece, me and John and David, guitar player, bass player, and we were doing, we were doing originals, but it was like we were kind of stealing from the sound of the Jam or the Buzzcocks, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a three-piece.
Different time for sure.
Oh yeah.
What was fun about the time? What was your favorite show back in the late 70s? Where was your favorite place to play?
Hong Kong, in the Flyboys?
In any band, in any of the bands you were in.
Well, I'll go back to the shows when the Flyboys were the punk Flyboys, and the whole, we were kind of like us and the Go-Go's and the crowd before I was in the band were sort of like Dayglow punk, and I remember a couple of different, one of our favorite places probably was the Hong Kong Cafe, because it became a scene place for everybody, and if you played there, it really didn't matter what night people came out because it was a Hong Kong Cafe. The other thing was one night at the Hong Kong Cafe, we were playing, Flyboys were playing, and I think we were playing with either Fear or Black Flag or something like that, and came David Bowie with Amon, led by Rodney and some other chick. And this is one of my rock star stories where I ran into someone that I idolized, and he comes in, they sit down, they're like, it's like those tables all the way to the stage, right, like bench tables, and everybody's like against the wall going, holy shit, Bowie's here.
David
just
Bowie's
like
here.
Fuck, there's David Bowie, like right, and nobody had any sack to do anything about it, and I'm like, screw it. I've done, it's my once in a lifetime opportunity. I just walked up, fucking went over to the table, and I said, Mr. Bowie, I'd just like to tell you that I'm a really big fan, and I really love all your work. And he goes, oh, thank you. And he shook my hand, and I go, I'm playing in the next band. I'd like you to stay and hear us. And I'll never forget what he said to me, man, because it's like in my ear right now. He says, will you play good then? And I said, I'll do my best. He goes, then I'll stay. And he did.
That's awesome. Now, speaking of this upcoming project, why don't you tell everybody what's coming out, what you got going on that you're doing?
Well, a couple of different things, or a few different things. I started a label, BTB Records.
What's that stand for?
That's an acronym for Bug the Benefactor.
Bug the Benefactor.
My nickname for about the last 30 years, due to a incident in San Francisco with the crowd, is Bug, and it's stuck. Actually, I don't hear it so much anymore, but except for the old schoolers still call me that. But I still refer to myself that way a lot, and I figure since I'm the one forking out the money for whatever projects I'm working on, that makes me the benefactor.
Bug the benefactor.
Bug the benefactor.
Makes sense.
Well, you know.
Makes sense.
Anyway, the first project that BTB Records is going to be doing is going to be called Highway 39 Revisited, a tribute to the crowd, and where I have a couple of dozen or more really, really great bands playing their versions and takes on crowd songs throughout our 33-year, 4-year history. I'm really looking forward to it. I've already had the Galway Hooker Band in doing 500 and Punk years, and it's just an amazing version, and if that's what this is all going to be like, I think we're all going to be very happy.
I can tell you we were honored, stoked, and I had so much fun recording that song.
Yeah.
Because before you came in, I did a little commentary and talked about the first time that I saw the crowd, or heard the crowd. 1978.
Okay.
There was a house party on the street that
Yeah.
I grew up in, right around the corner.
Yeah.
And I tell the story about how you guys played half of one song before the HB police shut the fucking thing down.
Yeah.
But my whole family, I was 10 years old. I was 10. My whole family was outside like we're sitting, and we were so excited. My parents were a little scared. Me and my little brother were stoked because punk rock was in town.
Right.
You know, because it was an exciting time.
Oh
Even
yeah,
for us-
and it was at that time. HB was pretty much a hotbed.
Yeah.
It really was. It really
you
was.
came out of the disco hippie thing to
Right.
now,
Right.
and
To
now
crazy house party,
Yeah.
fast, loud, trashy Jimmy Decker.
and angry and mean and rebellious and
Rebellious.
everything that
And
young lads.
It just seems so young and vibrant and like meant something. It just, I don't know. The project's going to be great. I have bands recording between now, May, through July. It'll probably be out sometime after the new year.
Nice. Who are some of the bands that are going to be on it? Besides the Galway Hooker Band, we've established that.
I have the Junk.
Julia Smut. She's been on the yard.
No, very good.
Yeah.
Then there you go. I have the Junk, the Adolescents, Channel 3, Manic Hispanic.
Wow.
My own band, Jack and Peg, Piccolo Pete. Like I said, there's 25,
That's awesome.
maybe more. Crazy Squeeze, who are also going to be on the record, as well as the Stitches. It keeps going.
Yeah.
But
Drinking music's good.
drinking music's good. Let me
Cheers to that.
Hooray.
Well, hey, thanks a lot for tuning into this episode of The Yard. I want to thank you, my friend Dennis.
You're more than welcome, Jason.
coming
I
down.
hope to come back and maybe cook sometime.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed this a lot. This was
Good.
fun.
I really appreciate you coming down, and thanks for watching. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Let's show them how the hookers do it.